So this is episode 21 of Oluswole, the podcast in the budget. I'm excited to welcome our guest. He is a podcaster and music maker. Cesar, what's good?
What's up, man? I'm glad to be here, ready to talk about whatever y'all want. But yeah, I'm just happy to be here, chilling on a Tuesday evening. Is it? I already lost track of my days.
Yeah, you're right. It's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, excited to have you on. It should be a great episode. I'm looking forward to it. First, I'll provide a bit of context as to how we know each other. So in 2019, we were both doing this LBW program at Penn, which is like a business program for rising high school seniors.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I don't think we ever spoke to each other, to be honest. I don't remember.
Yeah, like back then, I'm trying to remember, like, I was very like, see, I'm not shy, but I'm not as outgoing as I could be, even though, like, when we were doing the activities, it looked like I was pretty outgoing. Like, if you remember, like, the Caesar's Donuts, I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Like, make the presentation and stuff. But yeah, man, unfortunate. Like, I mostly just talked to my group and not that much outside of it. Like, my group and my roommate. I guess I was more shy back then, and I didn't really realize, it was gonna be like those 4 weeks and that's it. But I guess that's how the world works, and now we're both here at Penn, so I guess now is our chance to connect.
Yeah. I think the problem was that there were so many. I think it was like 160 kids, but the program was only 4 weeks long, like you said. So it's kind of hard to get to know people on a deeper level like that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I forgot it was that much. Wow. Yeah, honestly, and like everyone was from around the world too, so it was cool. And like, I just felt like halfway through, like people already had their cliques and stuff. So like, at that point, like, maybe you talked occasionally, like if you saw each other at like breakfast or lunch or something. But yeah, after the teams were set, like I think that's where people bond the most. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, now we're both at Penn, like you said, and we're both in Wharton. I believe you're interested in marketing, finance, operations, and accounting.
Yeah, I very broadly, I still haven't figured that out yet, but I took operations this past semester. I thought it was cool. Pretty cool. Like we use Excel and stuff, but marketing is what I was interested in getting here. I think it's slowly starting to fade away a little bit, but we'll see it when I take marketing and finance and accounting, just because like I think I like numbers, but we'll see in the fall how that turns out. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what I want to concentrate in, but I'm thinking about maybe doing finance and marketing, but I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, that's the power play right there. Yeah, a lot of people do that. So, we might see each other then in some classes if that's what it ends up being.
For sure, yeah. I'm sure we're going to have some classes together next semester if we're taking Accounting 101 or Finance 100 or one of those two.
Yeah. Taking Finance 100, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah.
Should be cool.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so you're a rising sophomore at Penn as well. What made you want to choose Penn? Because I'm sure you got into other schools that were pretty good. I actually saw on your IG the decision.
Man, yeah, it's pretty cringe to look back on. Nah, that was pretty fun. Yeah, I was just making that LeBron James, type of mocking him a little bit. But yeah, like if you saw that, I applied to. So originally I'm from Florida, right? So automatically I had like the Florida schools right there. My top choice from Florida was actually University of Florida, so where the Gators are, known for football. So if y'all hearing this, y'all probably know them for Gator Nation, the Swamp. And I think I was leaning very strongly towards them because in high school, I did this thing called dual enrollment, which is basically I'm enrolled in high school classes, but I also get enrolled in like this community college class. And what that allowed me to do is to graduate with an AA, so associate's degree. And the good part about that is if you stay within a school system, it'll actually like transfer those credits over, and then I would graduate with my bachelor's in 2 years. And so that's what like I was like, wow, like that's why UF was like top option. And then as always, like I always wanted to do business, and UF had like the best like business program, even though it was different from Wharton's because they didn't have like a business curriculum. They just had like marketing on its own, finance on its own. So, but like I still thought it was a good option, and then they gave me pretty good aid.
Mm,
And then some other options from Florida were like University of Central Florida and Florida International University, and that was it. And outside of Florida, I applied to obviously Penn. I applied to Yale. I applied to Columbia and MIT and Duke.
mm,
And so similarly, like I was looking at their business programs, and they're pretty good schools. I got rejected by Columbia and MIT, which those were long shots for me anyway. Well, all those schools were long shots, to be honest. But yeah, I got into Penn, Yale, and Duke, and so my ultimate decision had come down to UF and Penn. Strangely enough, I feel like most people would have like been like between Penn and Yale, but it wasn't like that for me. Strangely enough,
mm,
and the decision basically came down to like, do I want to graduate in 2 years or in 4 years?
mm,
And that's ultimately what it came down to. And I'm pretty sure most people would have taken the 2 years, but looking back on it, what someone told me was like, you only get to experience college once for the most part, or like, you know, the undergraduate level of college. And so they're like, I think you should just enjoy your time there. And
mm.
looking back on it as well, like the 2 years, like the things that I learned in my associates level, like they were pretty like, I don't know, those classes were easy. Like they were meant for you to pass. Like you weren't gonna fail those classes. They were like, you know, like speech and debate, like intro to jazz music, things like that, like that you can take easily. And so like I felt like I hadn't gotten a good like experience anyway. So I was like, you know what, I might as well just go to Penn, um, and just, you know, stay 4 years there. I'm pretty sure I'll enjoy it more. And like Warren is known as the best business school. So I was like, why not? And yeah.
Mm. Yeah, good choice. I mean, you had a lot of choices. You couldn't make a bad choice because you got into so many great places that like you know you couldn't really mess up there. But yeah, I'm glad. I'm pretty happy with how you know how you made your decision because like you weighed in all the factors. I'm sure that
Yeah.
people are telling you, you know, you have to choose one school over the other. You know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I mean, you did what's
Yeah.
best for you in the end, and that makes sense.
Yeah, and like where my mom was working, like her bosses wanted me to go to Yale, because they heard of like Yale was good.
Mm,
But Yale didn't really have a business program. They only had like an economics degree. But
mm,
yeah, so I think so far like I have no regrets of that decision. Even though like we stayed virtually our first year, I still
mm.
enjoyed Wharton a lot and the people here as well. So I think I made a good decision.
Yeah. And if you had gone to a school in Florida and gotten your bachelor's degree in 2 years, doesn't that mean that your first year would have been a COVID year because of, you know, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
like basically, if I would have enrolled in a Florida school, I would have been considered a junior. So my
Mm,
junior year would have been like during COVID, and then like I just have my senior year left. So that's
mm.
crazy to think about. I never thought about it like that actually. So yeah, that'd be crazy. I would have graduated college just by going 1 year to college. So that's
It's
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane. You're involved in many things. And one of the things you're involved in is the SOS podcast. That's your own podcast that you started that's under the Daily Pennsylvanian, which is our
Yeah.
biggest student newspaper on campus. They have their own podcast section. So the SOS podcast is, you know, one of the podcasts featured there.
Yeah.
And you've had guests like Aether, Jonathan. I think they
Yeah.
both go to Duke, and then Naomi goes to. She's a rising junior at Penn, I believe.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, and first of all, from podcaster to podcaster, like it's a great podcast. Like I really enjoyed it. I
Thank
watched the
you.
Aether episode earlier today. It was great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't get that a lot probably because, you know, like as I was telling you before, like I don't look at the analytics and stuff, like, you know,
Mm,
and like I just record it, want to have like a casual conversation with someone and just, you know, put it out there if anyone wants to hear it. Try to send home a good message or a different message, you know. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm glad that I started that. I feel like it's been a nice, like, creative juice that's been flowing through my blood, that I really wanted to start something on my own. And
mm,
yeah, as you said, like those guests, some of them from LBW, some of them from Penn that I've known over this past year virtually. And hopefully that list keeps growing. I gotta start planning for the fall already. See what I'm gonna do different. See what I'm gonna change or keep the same. So yeah, I'm glad you like it. And yeah, shameless plug right here for the SOS podcast.
Hey, there are no shameless plugs on the Oluswole podcast. Link to the podcast will be in the description down below. But
Hey,
yeah,
let's get it.
yeah, no problem. But one thing I really like about your podcast is because I know you make music, right? So I was listening to your podcast. I hear the intro, and it's you rapping, and I was like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, this is so hard! Like, this is really cool." Like, I really like the intro. Like, I just wanted to fanboy about that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, man.
yeah,
That intro, let me tell you, like, I was struggling to make an intro, and like I knew it had to be like the main part because like without a good intro, like that's it. Everything else fails. It doesn't matter. People are gonna click off. And
mm,
so I was with my girlfriend, and like I was just looking through like this website that had like free public to use like instrumentals because obviously I didn't want to get one off of YouTube just for someone to be like, oh, that's mine and I can't
mm,
use it. And there goes my podcast. So I went on like, you know, free public to use like domains. And then I was just like there for like 2 hours just looking for something. Cause like I wish I could make beats, but I'm not there yet. Hopefully I learn over the years, but I'm definitely not there yet. And yeah, I was there for like 2 hours. And initially I was just gonna have like a beat be the intro, like just the beat, because I thought the beat was so good. And I was like, oh, I
mm,
don't need to interrupt this. Right. And then whatever. So then I found like 3 beats I wanted to use. And then, you know, I was like tired of looking online for like 2 hours. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna sleep on this.
mm.
And then I come the next day and I listen to those 3 beats, and then one of them sticks out, and I'm like, okay, what can I do with this? And I'm hearing it, and like, you know, I had already recorded my first episode.
Mm.
So like I just recorded the audio and then I add the beat at the beginning. So I was like listening to the flow of it, and I was like, I feel like there's something missing and I don't know what it is. And then I don't know, like I just turned on my mic, and you know, I rap a little here and there. So I was like, okay. And I just heard the beat, and then the words just came out like naturally. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And like at the time, like I hadn't written like music in a while, so I was having of like a writer's block where I didn't know what to write. And then there came this opportunity, and I don't know, like I just went at it, and I don't know, like honestly, like it sounded so good, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then when I first published my first episode and I showed it to my friends, you're like, yo, this intro is hard. And I'm
Mm.
like, yeah, man, thank you, appreciate it, because like I enjoy that because like it came so naturally to me. Like I didn't struggle to make it too much. So like just hearing it and how it came out, and like it just came out in like 5 minutes at top of my head. I was like, yes, this is awesome. And then, you know, that's what most people give me feedback on for the podcast. So yeah, that's
Mm.
my little story there.
Mm. Very interesting to hear. I always like knowing the backstory behind like really good things like that and really creative things like the intro to your podcast.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like if I could rap, I mean I can't rap. If I could rap, and I wish I could rap my own intro, but that's not my lane, so I'm not gonna trespass into that territory. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but you said that the podcast allows you, like, it gives you a platform for you to channel your creative juices.
Yeah.
But tell me more about why exactly you wanted to start it.
Yeah. So I have a decent story about this. So in the fall semester, I was working at the call center. Don't know if you know too much about it, but it's like a part-time job.
Mm,
You're literally just like calling Penn alums for donations.
mm,
And they were operating virtually. So I was just working from my room on my computer, talking through this mic actually, and just talking to people, trying to get them to donate and stuff. And, you know, it was a good job for the time being. Like, you know, I made a little bit of bread there. But I don't know, like I just felt like the hours, like they were very flexible, don't get me wrong, but like it was always like 6 to 9 at night. And I felt like that 3 hours, like I could have been doing like so much more, like with my job. Like I would do it right, and then like I couldn't be able to do like homework at the same time as work, so I would do my homework after. And I felt
mm,
like it was always like a time crunch. And after about like 5 months, I think, within which I got promoted to like some type of not manager position, but like supervisor position almost. And like I thought I was gonna stay there for a while, but then like then came like the winter break, and I was like thinking about it, and I was like, I don't think I want to do this until the end of spring. And I don't know, I just felt like I needed to do something creative. And the podcast was up there, making a blog was up there, starting to like upload on YouTube was up there.
Mm.
And I don't know, like I think there's I think she's a rising senior now. Her name is Soraya, and she told me like the DP has this podcast team that's like fairly small, and she's like, oh, if you're interested, reach out to them. And with that, like, I don't know, everything just clicked at once. Like, I told my manager I was gonna leave the job. That I wanted more time for myself to explore like my creativity, whatever that meant at the time. And then I joined the DP, and I joined the podcast department, and they were like, yeah, like, this is your podcast. You do whatever you want, whatever topic you want. And we're just here to publish it, which is what I needed the most, because I didn't know how to like publish anything at all. Like, I just knew how to record, and that's it. And they gave me that opportunity, and that's where I was able to speak to people, make that intro, like make those episodes. Like, it really felt like I was doing something with my time. And I guess that's what I mean by like creative juices. And overall, like, I'm just really glad that everything lined up at the moment, and I was able to start that.
Yeah, stars aligned perfecly, it seems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of relate to you in that sense, because I was telling my sister this like the other day. I was saying that whenever I film a podcast, I get this like post podcast buzz, like, I just did something good,
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just that feeling of conversing with someone, and then learning a lot about them, and then letting others, being able to project their story to other people, is something that like it's just really fun to do. And like you said,
Yeah.
I think it probably gives you a sense of like gratification.
Yeah, a sense of accomplishment, like, for doing that, for like, even if an episode is like 20 minutes, like, just having that conversation, letting them explain their life story. It's just another great way to meet people as well, or like get to know more about them. Um,
Mm.
and yeah, as you said, like, I get that sense of gratification as soon as I finish like editing it and everything. I'm like, yes, like, this is done, ready to publish. And then the day it gets published, I have that beautiful cover art, and like, I'm like, yeah, I did that. So yeah, that's how it feels.
Cover art is pretty good too. Shout out Isabel.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
DP design team is insane. As soon as I saw that, like, my jaw dropped. I was like, yo, this is crazy. Because I sent them a picture of myself, and I was like, this is a kind of what I want idea. And they turned it into like exactly what I wanted. And I was like, wow, like, there's like, I never held a meeting with them either. Like, it was pure description and like back and forth with like my editor. And I was like, wow, like, they really came up with what I wanted. And so yeah, that's really awesome.
That's dope. I know. I mean, there are a lot of, like you said, a lot of talented people at Penn in general, but lots of talented artists and design people. So yeah.
Yeah.
Glad
Oh,
they could
sorry
help.
about that. My dogs are going crazy. I think my parents are finally home.
Oh, no problem, man. No problem.
Yeah.
So what's the goal for the podcast?
Yeah, so a lot of people have asked me that, and like, I always answer it differently every time, because I think generally what I wanted to do with it is let people come on and just share their stories, mostly like minority based. I wanted to focus it on, because I feel like the idea I had is that a lot of people at Penn, like, they go through stuff, or they don't know what they're doing, and like, it would be awesome if they could share that, so that people that are coming, or people that are also going through the same thing, like, they could hear their stories. They can maybe reach out to them. They could like learn from it, I guess. And I don't know, I just wanted to create that kind of space so people can talk about whatever they wanted, and interesting topics that I probably couldn't come up with. And I think that's a working formula for me. And hopefully that's what I keep doing moving forward. I do want to try to spice things up this coming year, but I think that's like what I want to stay at for the base of it.
Yeah, I like your mission, because like you said, there are so many. I mean, Penn is for a private school relatively big. 10K
Yeah.
undergrads and 10,000 people there. Like there are a lot of stories that go untold. So it's cool that you're bringing light to those people who may not have their stories, out there that are easily accessible for people to hear about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then beyond that, like I also wrote this in like my like podcast description. Like when I was starting it is like I want to talk to people at Penn and beyond. So that's why I got like some of the friends from Duke.
Mm,
If it's possible, like I want to even go global. Like I don't
mm,
want it to just be Penn in general. Like I want it to be like college students or like even high school students or maybe even like postgraduate students. Like things like that. Like I just want people to talk about what they went through, maybe share some tips, maybe get some advice, on any topic they want. And I think that's always a great structure when you just let your guests talk because they're the ones with the story, not you. Yeah.
mm. 100%. That's what I try to do. I mean, I'm trying to get better at it, but just let the guests dominate the conversation because that's who we really came for in the podcast. So
Yeah.
yeah, glad you bring
Exactly.
light to that. Just out of curiosity, maybe this won't be super interesting to the guests, but as a podcaster, I like knowing how other podcasters do their stuff. How does your editing process look like?
Yeah. So I had to make sure to kind of stick to a schedule last semester if I wanted to make this work. And so usually I had a Google form and that had like all the information that I needed from the guests. And so I tried to reach out to the guests like a week or two before I wanted to record. I sent them the Google form if they were interested, and they filled it out. And then they had like it had like a time preference on there, which was on the weekends mostly, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then they told
Mm,
me like morning, afternoon, or evening, and that let me know like okay, when should I record? And then I recorded on the DPs. Like they have this software called Zencaster, which is pretty cool. It's free and unlimited storage, and you can record video and audio, so that was pretty cool.
mm,
And then after that is done, I hop onto GarageBand actually.
mm,
So I know like I wanted to do Audacity initially because like I had a lot of experience with Audacity on PC, but this year I started using a Mac and like I don't know, I just never figured out Audacity. And obviously
mm,
the Mac already has GarageBand. And it took me a while to learn it, but essentially like I got what I needed for like the audio and I just made it work like that. And then I fixed the music up a bit and then there you go. Edit it for like maybe like an hour or less because like I try to like not edit too much. I let it be however it goes.
mm,
Um, and then yeah, after that, save it and then send it to my editor so they can publish it. And I make a little like blurb of the episode, kind of wrapping it up. And
mm,
I always try to stick to like 3 or 4 themes that I think showed up in the episode, and that's what you see
mm.
in my titles. So yeah.
Yeah, I've seen some of your blurbs, and they're pretty well written and descriptive. I like that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, GarageBand. I mean, I have a PC, so uh, I use Audacity because I don't have GarageBand on my
Yeah.
computer. But I think in the podcasting industry, based on my knowledge of it, which isn't perfect, it's just what I know. GarageBand or Audacity are like pretty common, so I don't think it really matters which one you use.
Yeah. And like I would have used Audacity, but like on my PC, like I already had all my like plugins downloaded and stuff, but like my PC's old, so like it barely
Mm,
runs anymore. And I don't know, like I couldn't get the same plugins on Mac. So I was like,
mm,
I'll just learn GarageBand. And there you go. I mean, learned it pretty quick, I would say. Well, the basics of it. I don't know everything, but yeah, just what I needed
mm,
for the podcast.
for sure, yeah. And um, do you know, like, was it hard for you to edit the first episode?
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my God. That first episode. Dude, oh my God. Like, let me tell you how I think like GarageBand like crashed on me. And like I had
Mm.
lost all the edits I had made up to that point. And I was like, wow, like, is this life telling me is this meant to be? um, And yeah, and then like I went back out. I was frustrated that day, so I just like left it. And then I got back to it a few days later, and I realized like there was like some audio cut, and like I don't know what had happened during recording, but it was really weird, and like some portion like had got skipped over, and I was like, "There's no way this is happening. Like I'm not gonna go and ask my guests to come back." And
Mm,
I don't know, like I just deleted everything, and then I downloaded the file again, and then that time it just worked. For
mm,
some reason, I don't know. And then another thing was like trying to get the timing of the music to line up with like the beginning of the episode. Because I
mm,
have like a little like fade away when the guest starts talking, and like that was my first time doing it, so I was trying to get it right, and then yeah, I think. And then another thing I couldn't really do on the first episode was like lower the volume when like because my dogs bark randomly, so like I had to like mute
mm,
that out, and I didn't know how to do that on GarageBand yet until like episode 3, I think, is when I learned. And so yeah,
mm,
just yeah, that first episode, like, oh my god, it was so tough, but when I got it done, I felt relieving, and then every
mm.
episode after that was just so easy to edit. So yeah.
Yeah, I've had. I didn't have the exact same experience, but I had a pretty similar one. Episodes 2 and onwards were fine to edit. Episode 1 though, that's the first one. That's the guinea pig episode. So like,
Yeah. Yeah. And
yeah,
like I told my guest, like my first guest, like she was so electrifying. And I was like, I can't mess her up like this. Like I can't do this to her. Like she's my first guest. Like, so, it was a grind, but I figured it out. And obviously with every episode after, I learned some ways to do things more efficiently, to
mm,
do things quicker. And yeah, I actually now I probably forgot how to do some because I haven't done it for a while. But yeah, I'll probably, start editing a little bit before fall so I can get
mm.
back into the groove of things. Because I had like a really nice rhythm going, and I felt like everything was clicking. So yeah,
Yeah, it's that. It's not. I don't know if there's a word for it or a phrase for it, but it's that like that
yeah,
podcasting flow. Like
yeah,
you're filming every week and then you're editing every week, and it's just like clockwork.
yeah.
You know?
It's like you
Yeah.
have that groove going. Like yeah, like I had everything scheduled, and it felt nice. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
even worried about my classes because like I knew the podcast was coming on the weekend, and like it was a good time to like relax.
Yeah.
And editing isn't that crazy either. So yeah,
Yeah. Like podcast like editing a podcast is not hard. You just have to learn how to do it. Once you learn how to
yeah.
do it, it's pretty simple. It's straightforward.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
crux of like a podcast is like what you actually talk about. Make sure it's
Mm,
interesting. Make sure you keep your guests engaged, your audience engaged. So
mm,
yeah,
100%. So moving away from podcasting, I want to talk about music, which we've already
hmm,
kind of spoken about a little bit earlier on in the podcast.
yeah,
I remember at LBW, and we are talking about this off the air, but at LBW, like we have to, I think there are 10 team, no, there's 16 teams of roughly 10 people per team,
yeah,
and they have to do like this final pitch to a panel of judges on the last day of the program about
hmm,
a startup idea. And I
yep,
remember you were one of the people presenting for your group, right?
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. And you had your group created, I think your group was the only group to create a little like jingle to open your pitch.
yeah, yeah, dude. You have a great
Yeah.
memory. Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah, that was my group. As I said, like I have been like interested in music for a while and like songwriting in general. And I was like, how can I contribute to my group beside of like just like, helping with the pitch and stuff. And I was like, we need to stand out too. Like I knew our idea was great, but I was like, they're probably gonna have great ideas too, and they're probably gonna do their own thing with the deck or something crazy. And so I was like, we need to stand out. And like, like I had already done songwriting and like for a while, and I was like, you know what, like let me just make a jingle, because it's not hard for me to like like if I already have something there like in mind like for the content, it's not that hard. Like I made that jingle in like a few minutes, and I was like, okay, like let's see if they like it, like my team first. And they were like, yeah, I'm digging it. And then we practice it, and I made sure I wanted to get my team involved and the crowd involved. And so that's that. I still remember like we opened with that, and like people were clapping along, and I didn't expect that to happen. And I was like, okay, okay, so now we got to feed off the crowd's energy. And
uh,
then after that, like we just got like a mini standing ovation. I was like, okay, this is hurting our time, low key, but let's keep it
uh,
going. And like, you know, that was a great start. Unfortunately, we didn't win anything, but I still think that was a pretty cool idea, a pretty cool presentation. I might use
mm,
that going forward. I always get those ideas of like, how do I incorporate music into this? And I always
mm,
try to do something like that because, you know, it comes naturally to me, and I think
mm.
that when people hear it, they're surprised. So that's why I like doing it.
Yeah. I mean, incorporating music into the pitch, not incorporating music into the podcast, like I definitely see a
Yeah.
clear pattern. Why did you start doing music and songwriting?
Yeah, so oh man, like as young as I can remember, like I grew up in Miami, right? So there's like a diffusion of culture down here. And in my neighborhood, like, you know, the neighborhood kids when we were little, like they put me on hip hop and rap. You know, I'm
Mm,
a Hispanic kid, so like I grew up on like, you know, like salsa, like, you know, reggaeton, like things like that, you know. And then they put me on hip hop and I'm like, yo, this is different, but I like it. And
mm,
I remember like the first song I ever heard was like a 50 Cent song with like Eminem or something. And I was like, okay, okay. And then like, I don't know, like over time, I liked imitating those rappers. Like I would look at lyric videos and like I would rap along.
mm,
And then like I would also like freestyle with my friends when I was little. And then like I even have a YouTube video when I was little. Like I wrote a little song about the Miami Heat when they had the big three. Cause like, you know, I was a proud Heat fan at the time. And like I don't know, just ever since I was little, like I was always interested by music. Like I loved hearing it. I love like writing it. um I loved hearing beats on YouTube. I have like another friend that like loves freestyling and he's so good at it, and I can
mm,
never be as good as he is. But like, you know, things like that, like they've always interested me. um
mm.
and like I try to say like I'm a student of the game, you know how these rappers say or whatever. But yeah, like I listen to old like hip hop, like I know where it originated from and like, you know, all
Mm,
that. And like I don't know, I just find music so fascinating how it could like touch people and stuff like that. And
mm,
so, you know, I've always written stuff, not produced, but like I've made some like SoundCloud albums on the side, you know, to get my work out
mm,
there, I guess. I don't like to say
mm.
that too much because, you know, people start searching and you know.
Ha!
um but yeah, like I don't know, it's a hobby of mine that I love to do. Like whenever I'm feeling down or like stressed, like I just write a song, like vent out my energy that way. And
Uh,
usually like I reflect and I'm happy about it. And you know, I just love doing it. Just a way to express myself. You know,
mm.
people like either they love drawing, they love painting, doing Photoshop, doing theater, things like that. Well, music is kind of my thing, even though like I don't play a single instrument, like just my vocals. And yeah,
Mm. That's really dope. It's interesting to hear like the origin story behind how you got into music.
yeah.
Um, since you said you have some SoundCloud albums, like how do you? Does that mean you were recording songs in the studio or just with like a setup at home, or how did that work?
Yeah, I wish I was at a studio. Nah, man, like same room I'm in now, like I would just record my
Mm,
vocals. As I said, like I'd just get beats off of YouTube. Like, you know, I wish I knew how to produce, or I wish I knew a producer, or I wish I had
mm,
the money to like buy beats. But at the time, like, you know, I was in high school. I wasn't gonna like put money down on like a rap career that I knew wasn't gonna go anywhere or something like that.
mm,
But yeah, like I remember like my first work that I published, like I used my Apple earphones on like my Dell PC, recorded on Audacity, got the YouTube video, like had no effects on it, like it was just pure vocals. And like I just grew from that. And another thing I also forgot to mention that like incorporating music once again, in high school we always had these projects, and like some of them were like, oh, you could do a video project explaining
mm,
like this concept or something, and it was usually for science, oddly enough. And so like that was another way like I incorporated music. And I remember the first time I did it, sorry, first time
you're
I did
good.
it was actually in like 8th grade, and it was about like algebra, and we had to explain like something. And me and my friend did like a song over Swimming Pools by Kendrick Lamar. And then like people like the teacher loved it, everyone in the class loved it, and I think the teacher like still shows that video to this day. So um yeah, like that was another way for me to do it. I did it for chemistry, I did it for physics, I did it for English. So yeah. And but besides that, like yeah, I just use my earphones, my laptop, nothing else. And then for like the second album I like made, I actually bought this. Well, my parents gifted me this mic that I'm using now. It's like a Blue Yeti, and that's when like I really wanted to like get into it, like make sure my voice was better, use better effects, things like that. And then I think like 2 years ago, I even bought like a keyboard, but unfortunately, like that's when I was gonna get into like trying to make beats, but that fell off. I stopped playing it. So yeah, but you know, I still try to write some songs whenever I'm free. And yeah.
That's cool. You were a little bit of a local Miami hitmaker then, like going to all these classes and performing a little bit, you know?
Yeah. Only locally. Yeah. In my head. Yeah.
Fair enough. And I know we're getting to like podcast nerd talk again, but the Blue Yeti mic. So I was doing a lot of research because I decided I wanted to do this podcast when I was like, I think February 2021. So I was on campus.
Yeah.
And I was going on a bunch of websites, watching YouTube videos, looking at equipment for a podcast and like what kind of mic I should get.
Yeah.
And I was deciding between my current mic, which is the Blue Snowball Ice, or the Blue Yeti. So I heard good things about both of them. But ultimately I chose this one. It's a bit cheaper.
Now that one's pretty good too. Yeah. I think when I was looking at mics to like for rapping, I also looked at these two. But yeah, I think my mic has held up well. I know it's not like the best in quality. Like there's probably like superior mics and things like that, but they're also like way more expensive. So I think for what I do, I think it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, like you said earlier in the podcast, really, yeah, you want to make sure your audio quality is decent, but really the listeners are listening for the content. And I listen to your podcasts and you sound crispy. Like it sounds like you're speaking into a really good mic. So I think it's been working well, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, I also got to make sure I edit it okay so it comes out the same way I hear it. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. So you mentioned, you know, hip hop is what really sparked your love for music making. Are there any other genres that you listen to on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so it's mostly hip hop for the most part. But like, you know, you can't get in the car and put on the radio without listening to some pop. You know, so pop, you know, the hits, R&B a little bit too. Not too crazy, but like, you know, hip hop and R&B are kind of like they were together in the 2000s a lot. It kind of split up now, but you know, I do know some R&B there. And you know, my Spanish music, it's still there, my roots. So like now, like Spanish trap is like popping, so that's a thing. You know, still listen to like bachata, reggaeton, salsa, merengue, all that. And yeah, I think like I'm fairly concentrated in hip hop. I think because like I just think it's so awesome, and like that's like the number one genre now. So I'm with the times, I guess. But speaking of like genres, like I also listen to a little bit of rock, like soft rock, a little bit of alternative, and yeah, I think that's about it.
Yeah, like you, hip hop is definitely my number one genre. Look at my playlist. I only have one playlist on Spotify. It's just where I dump all my songs.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's mainly like for me, it's like 80% hip hop. Then, like you said, maybe 10, maybe 15% pop.
Yeah,
5% you could say R&B, and then the rest is a mix of like anything else, pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, in Miami, like that's also what I think the most popular. But then again, like Miami also has like all these different like concerts and festivals, so like it's hard for me to ignore all that other music as well. I left out EDM, but like I also grew up on like EDM a bit, so yeah.
Who are your favorite hip hop artists as of right now?
As of right now, Kendrick Lamar, Tyler the Creator. I know he just recently dropped, and like that album was fire for me. J. Cole recently dropped also, so there you go up there.
Mm.
Drake, I still love, but like I kind of fell off that train for like ever since like More Life. I don't know, it just hasn't hit the same for me. Um, of course, my all-time favorite, Kanye West. I know
Mm.
people hate him now because of like the public, but like his music, like is just amazing. Like I think that he is the greatest artist of our generation. Notice I didn't say rapper though. He's the greatest artist. I think Kendrick is the
Wow.
greatest rapper.
Ooh.
But yeah, and Eminem when he was popping, I was also heavy on him, but now he kind of fell off too a little bit.
Mm.
Um, trying to, like I'm listing all these people, and I know it's probably not the people that most people listen to right now because like now what's popping is like Lil Baby and all of them. But
Mm.
like I'm not that into like the new school.
Mm.
Hot take, I guess. I've always been like an old head. Like I love the lyrics and like the production value and all that. Um, but yeah, I mean I'm mostly like old school. As I said, like I love learning about hip hop. So like I guess I got stuck in the past with hip hop. Yeah.
Ah. See, unlike you, I'm not a student of the game. I am a very shallow music listener. Like, I you see, I respect old hip hop, like the OGs,
Yeah.
Eminem, Lil Wayne, Jay Z, all of them. But the thing is, I only started listening to hip hop when I was 14, which is like 2016.
Yeah.
And I only listen to I really listen to the music that's popping, like the music that's coming out as of right now.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm more down with the Lil Uzis and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Lil others because like
Yeah.
that's the music they make right now. But I still
Yeah.
respect Ye. The College Dropout is a great album. I
Hmm.
enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And like my friends make fun of me for it because like like I hop in their car. I don't know what they listening to. They hop in my car. They don't know what I'm listening to. It's like that. I mean, I have a couple songs from Uzi, all of them. 21. Um,
uh,
like that class right there. Like I think that's the latest I went with like the new school, I guess.
mm,
Because they still had a little bit of the past, a little bit. But yeah, like now, like all these new like double XL freshmen, like since like 2018 maybe. Like I don't even know. Like they all have the same name. They all rap the same. I don't know. Yeah, that's just me
yeah.
though.
Caesar's an old head, huh?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah,
Yeah. Fair enough. Jermaine Cole is also nice. I should probably listen to more of him. But yeah, he's fire. Very
yeah.
talented. Also a very underrated producer. He's nice with that too. Jermaine
Yeah,
Cole.
that's another thing I also love. Like Kanye, Tyler, J. Cole, like they're all rapper producers, and like
Mm.
those beats go crazy. So like I've always wanted to like do beats like that, but like I just don't think like I have that functionality like to take a sample, chop it up, make it good. Like I don't think I'm at that level yet. I think I'll just focus on perfecting like my craft, my vocals, my writing for now. So yeah.
Mm. Fair enough, man. Yeah, so you want to transition to the Oluswole Bowl. That's the part of the podcast where we ask you some off the cuff questions that might be somewhat related to what we were talking about earlier on the podcast or completely unrelated. So I'll just fire away.
Bet.
So yeah, we were just talking about music, and for me personally, yeah, I saw him born in the early 2000s. The golden era of pop is like 2008 to 2013. What are your top three favorite pop songs from that era?
Oh man, damn. Okay, I'm trying to get my head spinning on that era real quick.
Mm,
Um, wow, yeah. So I think between that period, Justin Timberlake made a comeback. I think
mm,
with like the suit and tie. Um, so right now I'm thinking about like suit and tie. That song was pretty fire with Jay Z. Um, I think I was gonna say LMFAO, but that was more like rap. So I think I'll leave that on the side. But I know LMFAO was popping back then, but
mm.
that's not pop.
Two Hit
Um,
Wonder.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm struggling to think. Oh, okay. Now I got some artists. Okay. Um, Bruno Mars. Would you consider that kind of poppy a little bit?
Yeah,
A
yeah, I'd
little
say
bit,
so.
right? So I think that's when Bruno Mars started popping off. I think it was like 2010. I would want to say so. Oh man, he has such amazing songs. So I think I
Mm,
would go with like Grenade, because like
Mm,
that song is
mm,
amazing.
mm.
When I Was Your Man would be up there, but like that song is too depressing. So Grenade, and I'm trying to get a different artist in there. I
Mm,
think Rihanna was also popping back then.
mm,
Um, so like, I'm trying to think of a Rihanna song. I'm thinking of the one with Eminem, but I would be more like rap once again. Um,
mm.
so I would say like, oh my god, was Umbrella released back then? I feel like that's
I,
too. I don't know. Is it?
I'm pretty sure Umbrella would fall into that category. Let me do a quick Google search though. Let me just see.
Yeah. And if not
Umbrella.
Umbrella, like all I can think of right now is like Only Girl in the World. That's all I can think of.
That's a hit too. Okay,
Yeah.
Umbrella was 2008. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like those artists, I think kind of symbolize that pop era. Um,
Mm,
yeah, I couldn't really think of any more artists because, like, like that's when like I think Taylor Swift started as well, but I don't really listen to her.
mm,
Um, maybe Adele as well, but I don't listen to her that much either. So yeah,
mm.
I think those are my top three. Yeah.
Grenade. Whenever I hear the song Grenade, it reminds me of elementary school in Texas and, just the vibe, being
Yeah,
that young. Yeah.
Grenade, man. I went karaokeing like last Saturday, so like we sang that song on the karaoke. I'm like, yeah, I brought back those
Uh,
vibes. Yeah.
oh, yeah, for sure. Those are great options you mentioned. Uh, that era pop featured a lot of people who we heard about during that time a lot, and then after that time, we didn't hear about them as much.
Yeah.
Like Kesha was like churning out hits during that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, TikTok, all that. We Are Who We Are. Sean
Yeah.
Kingston,
Oh
Fire
man.
Burning.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. JB was just starting too.
yeah, JV. Yeah,
I think Usher was also popping back then. So yeah. Oh man, I forgot all those artists honestly, but yeah.
yeah. Usher, Usher. Yeah,
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
us way
yeah.
back. And then, last but not least, what's a funny story from your childhood?
Oh man. I feel like my life is like a walking comedy. So let me think. Um, funny story. I have so many in mind, but I'm also thinking of
Mm,
like near death experiences that I found funny, but people might not find funny.
mm.
um, I think, man, I have like so much coming in my mind, but I can't pick out one. Oh my god. Uh, you know what? I'll go with like the near death one instead of funny because I think that's the only thing that's coming to my mind right now, and
Yeah.
like I can't really think of anything else. But so when I was little, I used to love riding bikes around my neighborhood.
Mm,
And so one day I was just riding, chilling. Um, and I was going like on the sidewalk and I was going back to my house. So like my house is like back here. And then I was like going this way. I was on the opposite side. And then I had to turn obviously to go to the other street, to the other sidewalk, I mean. And I turned in between like two cars. There was like a little space, that two parked cars. I turned onto the street, and then as I'm getting on the street, I see a truck coming like 60 miles per hour,
mm,
at least
mm.
in a neighborhood too. So that's kind of illegal. But so if I would have died, he would have gone to jail or something. But so I saw that. I'm like, damn, this is it. Like, this is my life. I was like 10 years old at the time. I was like, damn, this is really how it's going to end, huh? And so I don't know what happened, but my instincts led me to like turn it and kind of like slide a little bit. I don't even know how, but next thing, like I just closed my eyes and I was like, like whatever, like if I get hit, like that's it. But I closed my eyes, I was turning, and then I hear like the tires like screech so hard, man, like so hard.
Mm.
And then I open my eyes and I see on top of me like the bottom part of the truck, and I'm like,
Ah,
wow. And like the tire was like right there, but it hadn't hit me. And
whoa,
I had like slid under the truck, and like I had landed on like some sand on the side.
whoa.
And yeah, and I was like, ain't no way. And then I see the driver like hop out. And I think at the time, like my friends were like there at my house or like outside, and I think my mom was also there. So she saw all of this happen in real time, and she thought like
Whoa.
I was gone. Like that's it. Like I heard her screaming as she was running towards me, um,
Uh,
and yeah, like she thought like that, like her son had died type stuff. And
uh,
yeah, and then like I got up, like I just had a few scratches from like falling on the concrete and stuff, but I was fine. And from
mm.
that day forward, my mom never let me ride a bike again. So I guess that's the funny part. But yeah,
Uh,
that was my near death experience. I love telling that story because you
uh,
got to be grateful and you got to be careful too. So yeah,
for sure. I mean, life is precious.
yeah.
Were you? Were you? I know it sounds like a dumb question, but were you super scared, or were you just like, "Oh, well, this is how it's gonna end" in that moment?
I mean, like I was so young, so like I can't even tell you what I was feeling at the time. But like, I think I was scared, yeah, because like
Mm,
I saw that truck coming, and I was like, "There's no way it's gonna stop in time." And like I just have a bike. I know a truck is stronger than a bike, and stronger than me at like 10 years old too. And like at the time, I was like, all I could do now is just like drop, I guess.
mm,
And like I low key like tried to beat it by sliding onto like the sand.
mm,
But yeah, like at the time, like, I saw a truck coming and I thought that was it. So,
mm,
and like I wonder what the truck driver felt. Like the truck driver was probably like, "Oh my god, like this is about to happen too." But I don't know, like
mm.
miracle of life, I guess. Live to see another day. Yeah,
For sure, yeah. At least he survived, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Here to tell the story. Yeah,
Of course. So yeah, this wraps up today's episode of Oluswole. Thanks, Cesar, for coming on the podcast. Cool episode. Fun to have you on.
yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on, being such a dope host. Everyone hopefully gets to listen to this. Shameless plug again for the SOS podcast. And thank you for having me, man. Appreciated it.
No, no worries, dude. Oluswole is available on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We're also on TikTok. And the link to the SOS podcast by Cesar will be down in the description. And thank you guys for listening, and peace.
See y'all.